Hello everyone, and welcome back to Fleet's Random Ramblings. After melting in the 30-degree heat for more time than I'd like to admit. Yep. Hello everyone. I am officially done melting.
You to the fort.
Whoops, she's still going. I'll give her a minute.
Oh, so the Jedi were.
Nope, she's still going. She's still going. I'll give her a minute.
What about potatoes?
Right.
Can
There
I
we go.
recite the potatoes to you?
Apologies, I just need to click on for just a second. Hello, Discord audience. Welcome to the Ramblings. And now I've synced up both Discord and YouTube. We can get cracking with the questions. Now that I'm done melting for the week, fucking hell, working in a warehouse, delivering stuff to people that weighs like a literal ton on pallet trucks all week. Fuck me, I've thrown off like 20 kilos.
God, I wish that was how it worked.
Motherfucker, that is how it works!
No, it's not.
It
At-
really isn't, my
At
guy.
the start of
If-
at the start
it-
of the week, I was a certain weight. I am now a certain weight. How else do you fucking explain it?
I started the weight at 200 a week at 280 pounds. I have probably gone through about 5 gallons of water just at work this week. I am still 280 pounds.
Well, that's good for you or bad for you. Either way, the point is,
Bad for me, Fleet.
the point is, that's not what's happened to me.
Some people just have all the fucking luck.
Mate, I do
I
not
look at a
feel
salad
lucky.
and I gained 5 pounds.
You work in a nice, clean reactor. I work in a dusty old warehouse.
Quickly, what server you on, Dragon?
Oh boy, they're doing
New
the
one
funny
boss
things.
as here 5.
Okay,
Oh boy.
Fleet, you're aware of the color high-vis yellow, right?
Yes, Ruinon, I was being a teeny bit facetious. You don't have
There
to
are
dig into the...
days
You don't have to dig
where
into the
I have
weeds on
come
this.
Where that shirt was a rich mud brown.
So have I.
I don't work in a clean space, my guy.
I know,
Certainly
and you also didn't have to take what was clearly a joke and be that in detail. with it.
Didn't sound like a joke.
That wasn't clearly a joke.
It
Either that or
was.
I'm just particularly autistic today.
No,
It
no,
could be
no,
that.
no. Anyway, moving swiftly along.
I
Yeah,
like
that-
potatoes.
The heat has rendered my bullshitometer down to 0, so I have 0 tolerance.
Adapt.
It's gotten so hot that my dog needs a dedicated fan.
Yeah, but dogs are more important than most humans. You are an exception to this rule.
Dogs are also kinder than most humans.
You're an exception to this rule because I cannot say the various things in this channel at this time.
Coward.
Oh boy.
Yeah, but
this...
I like Fleet, so I don't want his channel getting nuked.
What is about nuking?
Coward.
I take my attention away from my ears for a brief second, and I hear channel getting nuked. What the fuck are you people planning?
Do not be concerned.
I am
Yeah, don't
very
worry about it.
concerned.
Dragon's planning to go Doctor Strangelove on your ass.
So, that is the wrong channel, Fleet. Don't post that there, you utter lemon. There.
Lemons.
That's where that belongs. Starting with Patreon questions, as we always do, since Timu did want this one to go to Dragon and Foxo in particular. Timu Locker on Patreon asks, for Dragon and Foxo, GW's May 2026 cinematic gave the Emperor his first official on-screen depiction, and he moved. Now the Imperium asked, quote, I have measured my Lord's stillness 10,000 years as a lesser man measures his own pulse. I tell you, it was never broken, not once since the throne took him in. Now his likeness moves before the eyes of the whole Imperium, and even they who shaped him will not say whether it is waking or artifice. So when I ask the only question that matters, the one I am cursed before all others to ask, when the Master of Mankind stirred upon the Golden Throne, did the cultists merely twitch, or has my Lord at the very last begun to open his eyes?
Wait, so say the first bit again, sir, about the whole first thing we've seen.
I mean, right? GW's May 2026 cinematic gave the Emperor his first official on-screen depiction, and he moved.
All right, on screen, I was going to say no because we have had official depictions of him before, but okay then, right. That's the bit I wasn't clear on.
Stop molesting my hatch.
This is entirely your show.
What?
I haven't.
I don't see where the quest is. The question basically the bit at the end, or
I would guess so. Is your boy just corpse twitching, or is dude?
well, for one, the
waking up?
corpse doesn't twitch. Not how it works.
The eye moves,
Mhm.
and it moves to look at the viewer.
The idea is that the Emperor knows you are watching.
Yeah.
To quote an apocryphal line from that oh so famous fan series, fourth degree interdimensional warp fuckery.
Yes, technically, right. Yes, in the thing you see it twitch, but from what we've had confirmed otherwise, no, it's not twitching. It's big. It's called a thing to get people. For instance, we also know the Astronomicon, the way they show it, is not like that. Because at that point, it's basically the rave pyramid from the what's called meme of what the Astronomicon looks like within 1,000 light years of terror. Because it does look eerily similar to that actual thing.
Emperor having a rave at the Imperial Palace. Dude's fucking off his head on boof.
Because the thing is, either it's a cinematic effect because it's cool as fuck, pardon my French, or we're preparing for a 40k end times.
And we're not preparing for 40k end times.
I'd argue we are,
I wouldn't.
to a degree.
There's too much money to be made currently.
Yeah, but from a narrative perspective, we are.
Yeah, but we've been moving to an end times narratively for like over a decade now.
Yeah, but now we've got the Lion back. We've confirmed the Chaos Primarchs are coming back, becoming active again. We've got hinted another Primarchs coming active, and the Emperor's twitching after 10,000 years of being still. And we now know from books like The End and the Death that what gets up off that throne will not be the same as what went on it. Be polite.
I still wouldn't say it's moving towards an end time just because they're
Petrick,
actively,
Petrick,
they actively keep going backwards.
we have a Ramblings text chat. We don't use the Rambling Zone text chat.
Yeah,
We've
That's
never
because you can't
used the
access it
Ramblings
on
Zone text
mobile.
chat.
And also, you don't need to ping me. Like, people should only be pinging me when Ramblings is on if something is very, very important that demands my attention in a sort of a fleet shit's kicking off, come and have a look at this bit. You shouldn't be pinging me during Ramblings just to get my attention to something you've said. If you don't want me to call you out for doing something, don't do it. You're not... I'm not...
Anyway.
I don't think Fleet's tits were that calmed up, but anyway.
But also, you've got stuff like the beginning of Ragnarok.
Yes, like we've had a bunch of stuff saying that it is moving towards that. We've had it's been declared to be the wolf time, but then again, if the wolf time is the end of everything, is up for question because, well, that could just be the end of the space wolves, which may not be the worst.
Yeah, I was about to say something value lost, not something.
But and also the fact that GW are actively just moving backwards in the timeline as necessary. So no, it's not an end times.
Oh yeah, but
thing.
I mean, as a narrative, it's not for the setting because they'll go back. But
I mean, I'd argue that...
we're shaping up for
Oh yeah, like
the
this
Nash
is
2
meant to be
Electric
the big
Boogaloo.
fight. This is meant to be the big fight, but whether we get the big fight, probably not. No.
Yeah, I think if once Russ comes back, I'll be more open to entertaining this is the end times of 40k.
Hmm.
But, and the reason I say is because Russ is, prophesized to come back for Ragnarok. And so far as you do or don't believe that to be accurate,
A man just literally, like, everything's about to fucking go to shit. A man just shows up with an axe and yeets it into the fucking face of whatever's causing
I
problems.
mean, he's literally a Thor analog at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Thor also dies in Ragnarok, so
Yeah.
and we wouldn't be the first Primarch to die.
No,
Well-
but it does mean that Space Wolves can be put in their place a little bit.
I mean, and also, there is also the thing that, I mean, come on. How poetic would it be for him to truly kill the soul of Magnus the Red while dying in the
Not
attempt?
possible.
Magnus' soul is long gone.
Well,
You would need someone like the Emperor to put down Magnus's soul.
Well, no. The warp entity that's taken the place of his soul.
Yeah.
And Magnus doesn't fucking have a soul.
Magnus's soul has been shattered and scattered, if I remember correctly.
Yes, and is kept within these Infinite Silver Labyrinths. Or the Palace of Zinch.
I want to say that
partially because Zinch knows that if enough of it ever gets out to actually go and attempt to reunite with Magnus the Red, things
Nothing
could get
happens.
interesting.
Nothing happens.
No, nothing happens.
Magnus doesn't have his soul anymore. The only danger is him returning to the Emperor.
That's what I said.
But even if he gets his soul back, he's not returning to the Emperor.
Who said anything about him returning to the Emperor?
I just wouldn't say him getting his soul back is anything interesting.
But the funny thing is it's now heavily hinted to at that Zeech. A lot of what we know about Zeech was just him bullshitting.
As in...
His labyrinth is an infinite.
Ah! That's funny.
Of course, no one can actually prove it's not.
So Zeech is... Well, I mean, that is the most on-character thing I've ever seen. Dude is literally...
He's literally, his entire thing is fucking lying. And the only time we know about like to affect Zeech's power is when either it's one of his demons saying it, or when it's him saying it. And like, bro, you're the deceiver. If you're not lying, you're not doing your job.
Mm-hmm.
Because, for example, one of the things we've got that's why Zeech is so that makes Zeech sound so powerful is when he's corrupting Magnus the Red, he gives the list of his domains, and it's like, you in this conversation you were already lying to Magnus.
Mm-hmm.
So why have people taken you at your word here?
Yarp.
Because he also doesn't share domains with his fantasy counterpart, unlike all the rest.
Wait, hold on. Fantasy and 40k don't mix.
They're connected.
yes,
Okay.
in for certain characters,
Not even just certain
Belial.
characters.
There
for
is a direct. You can easily map it out. Yes, this character is present in both.
Well, there's
settings.
also a case of we have had 40k weapons turn up in fantasy. We have had stuff like relic chain axes from Warhammer turn up in fantasy.
That's what? No, that's not right.
Yeah.
No, that is
Yeah.
right. The whole selling point for the Demons Army was that you could use it in both systems when they released Demons. I think that's still mostly
Yeah.
true.
Yep.
And you can also use them as what's called Zinchian demons as well for Chaos Space Marine armies. But yeah, so technically the warp is connected to a degree.
Mm.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah,
part of the reason
yeah.
anyone who's played Old World knows that to a degree Zeech is bullshitting in Voitige. But yes, we want to move on.
Yeah,
Sure.
Zinch is always bullshitting.
1961, in Empire Turn Commonwealth, since any Empire/Commonwealth VLS system will use all missiles developed by British and the Dominions, what else would need to be a universal type system? Well, funnily enough, if you're talking about stuff that needs to be a universal style system to be adopted across the entire Commonwealth, if it's a more unitary state, basically you're looking at NATO rules. Artillery ammunition, small arms ammunition, ideally shipping containers for supplies and logistics that you might carry on the back of 6x6 or 8x8 trucks. Possibly ammunition for any autocannon operated by the armies, whether they're mounted on IFVs, light armored vehicles, or used as AA weapons. Standardization when it comes to things like aircraft carried munitions is kind of self-imposing, because that's likely to only have really one, possibly 3 sources of munition supply. That being, obviously, the munitions manufacturers in the UK proper, plus whatever spins out of Australia and Canada, should their munitions...
Or France.
Well, don't know if France is going to be aligned with Britain.
Or this fact that Cold War France will sell to anyone.
True, but then again, you might have an idea. You might have a tint of imperial preference / forced imperial preference if this is a Commonwealth. So
Yeah.
it's far more tightly linked.
Yeah, but it's still a case of early Sea Eagle was goddamn awful.
Yes,
And
but,
Exocet is right there.
yes, but again, we're assuming that the weapon systems fielded in this world are the same, which they probably will not be.
Yeah, but that's an example of the fact that it's, especially when it came air-to-ground missiles, the French were pretty far ahead.
Again, we don't know if that's going to be the case here because we don't know what the situation is. I'm going. I'm literally going. The things I listed with ground stuff was because I could fucking guarantee that, regardless of the state of the world internationally.
I think you're going to see a lot of similarities because, well, physics.
Convergent evolution.
Yeah, and convergent evolution, and basically, I don't think the Soviet tech tree changes that much if you have a European, or excuse me, a British Commonwealth, especially even if it's a more unitary Commonwealth instead of a federalized one.
Yeah, it's also going to be relatively economically weak. Because it's going to be paying high administrative overheads for low productivity regions.
To be fair, I don't think I've actually had it said what this state actually is. And I also, one of the things we don't know is the history. Like, we don't even know what the Second World War looks like.
Yeah, but that's not going to change the fact that most of the colonies in Africa are severely underdeveloped.
No, and I get that. But what I mean is we don't know what the state. We don't know. Is it a federal system? Is it a Commonwealth as we know it, but with slightly more soft power exerted from London and an actual customs union enforced? Is it a full imperial federation? We don't know.
Well, it's specified unitary state.
It doesn't say. It just says Empire turned Commonwealth. Doesn't say anything about, unless Knight actually wants to specify.
He's asked this before, so let's.
But I can't remember.
It explicitly states a Empire turned Commonwealth, so.
Yeah, so you can pretty much assume to a quite significant degree
History goes the same.
history goes the same.
It's basically
Yeah.
it's that Britain does things differently instead of decolonization at the end of World War II.
Well, you run into the issue of the Empire doesn't have the extractive capability of the Soviet Union from its West territories. And it doesn't have the economic centralization, development, and industrialization of the Americas. So it's going to have still going to have a lot less money to play with. And that's assuming the Empire, the new Unitary Commonwealth isn't catching fire repeatedly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's going to be a case of you're going to have more, but you can push towards historical developments happening as they do, because
You might
there's
have
not a lot of money there.
You might
Back
have.
to-
Sorry, can I?
Go ahead.
You might have an empire with slightly more teeth, but not significantly more.
Back to the question at hand. You're gonna have, like Fleet was saying, standardized logistics. You will likely standardize on. You'll probably get some equivalent to NATO Stand Mag established, whether that is Stand Mags as we know it for 5.56 or 223 cartridges. I don't know. You will probably standardize around a infantry caliber. At sea, you will probably standardize around probably 3 levels of deck gun. So a close-in weapon system, a medium-weight artillery piece, and a heavyweight artillery piece. Whether that's 40 mil, 20 mil, 50 mil, and then a 3-inch and then a 5-inch on the deck. Who can say? You'll probably have standardized radar and EW protocols, if not emitters. Because if you are trying to do combined fleet operations, the last thing you need is your radar and electronic warfare suites stepping on each other.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point.
Your encryptions are going to share standards. Your signals will obviously be universal between the dominions. You are probably going to use incredibly similar computer architecture, at least for core systems. And you'll probably have a lot of Packard Merlin type situations where, yes, this system is built by Vauxhall based on prints from Vickers. So yes, it is technically an Australian. Is there an Australian car company? Help me out here. Does somebody know?
HSV.
HSV. So yes, it is an Australian-built widget, but it's made to the British design spec. And they're pretty much interchangeable in 99.9% of situations. But yes, Knight, at some point, especially here,
It always is Montana. It's always recorded.
a little bit of fleshing out of your hypothetical, the Commonwealth lives, might be useful. Not necessary,
He's done it.
but might be.
Well,
Yes.
he's giving me bare bones anyway. I'm literally putting it here and I'm pinning it. So I can come back to
You
it
might want to
later.
copy paste it out so it doesn't go bye-bye.
No, I have done. I have done into the Ramblings text, and I'm pinning it in the Ramblings text as well. So that every time that question comes up, I can go and look at it.
Oh, turns into an EU-like Commonwealth.
Ooh.
Oh, dear God. Oh, God.
So it is
Oh.
like a soft Imperial Federation then. Oh boy. Oh boy, that's a lot of negatives.
That's gonna be on fire. A
Yeah,
lot of fire.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's
That state's
you
gonna
might
spend.
be able you might be able to get them all to agree on the length of a kilometer.
Mile.
Hadn't Britain largely switched to metric in the 40s?
No,
We
we still have a switch to metric now.
we still use miles for distance and speed. Thank God.
Because what's it? We use kilograms for food, but pints for milk. We use miles for speed, but kilometers for distance.
No, we still use miles for distance.
If you want to talk off that, we still use chains for distance.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah.
Still also use feet for distance,
Yeah.
there's only better examples there.
which is why American guy won't say that.
Anyway.
You use
Anyway.
stones for weight, for human weight.
Well, like if you
Okay.
want the different, right? If you want the difference here,
No, not-
we use liters for milkshake, yet we use pints for milk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate you.
What's it? We use ounces for sauce, but grams for sugar.
Yeah. It's weird. But also, I will point out that to put in a zinger of my
And we
own.
use acres for area
Yeah.
of land.
Yeah. To put a zinger on this, if you have an EU-style Commonwealth, this state spends most of its time arguing to split itself apart and then somehow successfully re-arguing to stay together. And that's basically all that fucking gets done.
Because you gotta remember, post-colonial African history is insane. And states like Nigeria, South Africa, Rhodesia, Kenya.
They just want gone. They want out.
No, it's not so much they want out, it's the fact that they want to rip themselves apart. Most of those countries have ripped themselves apart.
Nigeria managed to stay intact, mostly.
Yeah. If you discount the last 50 years of ethnic warfare. Because Nigeria's, for the last 50 years, has been in a functional civil war between the Muslim North and in what used to be Sokoto and Caliphate before it was colonized, and the largely Christian and animist South, which is why Nigeria is perpetually fighting a bush war against Islamist insurgents. And Nigeria is one of the more stable ones. And they've had how many coups?
More than they would like to admit.
Okay. So let's have the next question, which is...
3 kobolds in a trench coat.
Hey, that's a good reference. Typical Gunner Officer
can
asks... go on, Rodon, finish the bit.
You can never go wrong with 3 kobolds in a trench coat.
Hey! Typical Gunner Officer asks, what if somehow Argentina in the late 1970s was supplied by the Soviets with badges or even backfires that could carry Kingfisher missiles? What would happen to the RN fleet off the Falklands? Do you think the RN would be more capable than the USN at that time at defending themselves against a swarm missile attack? Yeah, in America, I'm sorry, but if that is the threat level that is facing the RN task force, well, first of all, the US would have had serious eyes on that whole situation, first and foremost. And that move would have probably seen the Argentinians ostracized from Western supply. Although, I mean, the French would still have sold them fucking shit because, well, it's France. They'll sell to literally anybody. It's what they do. But...
Including post-2014 Russia.
Well, no, actually, the French, to their credit, did actually halt armaments.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, they did.
They sold the... It got confirmed a couple of years back that they were selling the sort of 700 units of Gen 3 thermals and night vision.
Ah. I mean, the big ticket items, they stopped sending them. They cancelled. They
Thermals are big ticket items in the modern day.
anyway.
3rd and 4th gen thermals are expensive.
Anyway. The problem is this changes the dynamic of the Falklands because it changes the Argentinian relationship with the West and the US in particular. The US is now going to look at this and go, Argentina says they're doing this for this, but they've become a bit chummy with Russia. What's their end game? Are we going to see Russian Soviet ships in Argentine ports? Are the Soviets going to get to establish a listening post and radar station on the Falklands once the Argentinians have... You know, I know it's Cold War paranoia, but that's how the US thinks in the Cold War. So, if the Argentinians do this, and they've got even a squadron of Badgers or backfires with Kingfisher, you better believe the US isn't going to go, maybe we can let this slide, put a bit of pressure on the British publicly, whilst privately giving them a bunch of missiles and saying, go get them, champ, we got you covered.
I would like to point out, to back up Fleet's point, who gets elected to POTUS in 1981?
80, but yes.
1980, sorry.
Yeah.
Either gets inaugurated in January 81.
It's your boy, bomb 'em all, Ronald Reagan!
Yep. And you think Ronald motherfucking Reagan is going to allow the Soviets to reliably set up shop in the South Atlantic?
Even if they're not going to, and the Argentinians have no intention of doing it, accepting those bombers and those missiles from the Soviets is just nah. You have brought America's attention down on you in the worst way possible.
Yeah, that's going to be a yes,
Like
sanctions, regime change time. Because we all know that the Reagan administration was more than happy to play hopscotch in the chest cavities of South and Central America.
That will be the plan, and then the Argentinians will do this stupid thing, and then the Reagan administration will go, and then the British will go south, and there'll be an American carrier group behind them, just behind them, and then literally at the slightest pretense, the Americans go, shit, the Argentinians locked us up. The Argentinians are shooting at us. They're definitely shooting at us. We're engaging. Come on, let's go. Whereas it wouldn't have happened that way.
Or it's just remember that since they're in the American pocket, the American government is subsidizing the Argentine regime at this period. They start pulling this funny shit, the subsidies stop.
Yeah, like there may not be a Falklands War because the Argentine government might just...
No, if anything, if the subsidies stop, that encourages them more to do a Falklands War.
Which, if they do it earlier, would mean that the British would have one, possibly two Catobar carriers to form the centre of the task force.
All depends on when they do it.
Which means that the Bucks and the Phantoms get one last roll in the sunshine. And whilst the Badgers and Backfires are dangerous against US carrier groups, they're dangerous in numbers backed by the full suite of Soviet electronic warfare assets and with Soviet RORSATs to find targets in open ocean. The Argentinians will have none of those three things.
Although I will point out that Argentine being in a position not only to be offered, but then to also accept this level of Soviet artillery is going to be a very different time stream than the historical Falklands War.
Oh yeah,
because you now have a South American power that is chummy with a communist power.
The Brazilians are going to be sat there shitting bricks, and the Brazilians are going to be sat there ordering actual full-on guided missile destroyers from the Americans. Like, the Brazilians are going to be sat there going, give us fucking... what's these ships the Iranians order that were then taken into US service?
I can see the name in my head.
I know. The kids. Like, yeah, like, the Brazilians will probably at the same time go, hey, America, we want, like, a pair of these fucking ships you're building for the Iranians, because the Argentinians have this level of air threat now.
The
and we
hell is
want to
that?
save our carrier.
What the fuck is that? I like my oceans to very
No,
much not
the-
be filled with eldritch abominations. Thank you very much.
Honestly, no, gunner officer. Whilst the Soviet, whilst this scenario has forced an agreement between, because of the way it's set up, because otherwise there's nothing to discuss, a agreement for the Soviets and the Argentinians to buy and sell respectively, perhaps 1 to 2 squadrons of Badgers, and I can't see backfires. I'm sorry. Like, I know the question says them, but I'm sorry. Backfires are just... The Soviets never exported them to anyone, so valuable were they to the Russians' overall warfighting capability. It's gonna be Badgers. Like 1 or 2 regiments of Badgers with Kingfisher. That's dangerous, don't get me wrong. But the Russians doing anything else beyond that niche thing is highly unlikely. Wellesley, there's a reason the Russians didn't export Blinder either. The same reason. Montana, the British wouldn't want Tomahawk refit Iowas. A, they couldn't run them, which they couldn't. Entirely too much ship, entirely unneeded. The British have entirely enough 4-5 to do the job when it comes to shore bombardment, and no, there's no need for the Iowas.
Also, the odds of the Reagan administration selling the Iowas off is
Even leasing them is just not viable because the crews aren't trained on them. The British crews won't be trained. There'd be no time to train them.
It's also motherfucking Reagan.
Yeah, they'll do a joint operation at best.
Yeah, if the Americans are that worried, it will be a joint British, and especially if Foxo's right that the funding causes an earlier war. It'll be you'll have Ark Royal with probably a Kitty Hawk or a Forrestal alongside as a joint as the Royal Marines and US Marines go down to fucking make the Argentinians regret that they pissed off the 2 most competent Marine Corps in the entire world.
We want to move on?
We probably have.
Fine red paste. Fine red paste.
1931, in an Empire-turned Commonwealth, which he has described as and has now codified as the EU
Can we
style.
skip this one then?
No, we don't. We don't skip questions.
That's
We
factually
literally
false,
do
you know it.
nowadays.
I do, but not this one. Because I like hammering points home, especially when they're good to hammer. home.
I just don't like being forced to repeat myself repeatedly.
Oh, it's not what I
So
thought it
what's
was.
this? Right.
Oh, it's not what I thought. It's the same thing we've already answered basically 3 times over.
Which is?
Basically, we did this whole thing on Empire shipbuilding like a couple of weeks ago where we covered all of the bases. We already covered this question night in the one we did about Imperial shipbuilding generally a couple of weeks ago. That was covered under that. Yes, we started with Vickers, but we eventually expanded to cover just Imperial shipbuilding generally. Okay, he's really on Empire turned Commonwealth streak today. This is something we haven't covered. We haven't covered anyone else. So Empire turned Commonwealth, blah blah blah. US.
Can we let someone who's not him ask questions? Because who asked the one about the Falklands?
Well, I'm trying to find a
Gunnery.
YouTube question that isn't.
Okay.
The problem is there is no YouTube question that isn't. Oh no, actually there is one. Here we go.
Bowmill Boy.
So I'll put Bowmill Boys and then I'll give Nat another question after Bowmill Boy has had his. What if the American Civil War begins over the in 1890 over the nullification
30,
crisis?
right?
1830,
30.
sorry. What is I might be a bit rusty on my American history here.
Let me look it up, and I'm gonna
Uh,
take. I'm going to be an ass and take lead on this question because
this is the.
if it is what I think it is, yeah, I probably need to take the lead on this.
Yep.
Crisis of
Go
1832.
Pocket American.
Yes, it's the
Okay, all right. First. Explain to us what the nullification crisis is, Ronan.
Okay, so just going off the wiki blurb, it is basically South Carolina was saying that the United States federal government did not have the power to levy tariffs. And therefore, it would not collect or facilitate the collection of said tariffs within the sovereign boundaries of the state. It was specifically the tariffs of 1828 and 1832. It was a tax on import of manufactured goods. And Jackson was expected to reduce the amount of the tariff when he was elected. He did not do so.
and of course Jackson, being Jackson, basically said, "No, we don't compromise. You will fall in line, or I'm coming down there."
Yeah, so you have Jackson, who is far more. Basically, you have Jackson in the big chair, quote unquote, who is far more willing to throw hands over anything and everything. Who also has a lot of cultural cachet due to the War of 1812, at a time where the southern states have not been able to basically raid the federal armories and stock up in the run-up to war in the 1860s.
I mean, to be frank, this was only South Carolina that was doing this.
But I will also remind you that South Carolina is one of many agricultural states and non-manufacturing states, and also is not the only state affected by this.
Yeah, because he also pisses off quite a lot of the traditionally northern states with this, if I remember correctly.
But ironically enough, this wouldn't be over an issue of slavery. This would be over an entirely economic and states' rights issue.
Fleet, I will remind you that the United States of America exists because we didn't want to pay taxes.
No. The point, I was actually going somewhere with that. This would mean that the American Civil War, or at least the problem. Well, this would basically mean that the Civil War would be a purely economic factor, and one not born out of a desire for secession, but more a desire for reform / changing of economic policy.
It is, though, because the United States federal government unequivocally has the right to levy tariffs and taxes. That's the whole point of the Constitution, is that it gives the federal government the ability to regulate interstate and international commerce and tax as it deems appropriate. This is South Carolina again being whiny that it thinks it's not going to get its way at the federal level. It's honestly even you can make an argument one way or another that there is a route to a legal secession from the Union, because it's not really addressed in the Constitution. But here it is what South Carolina is doing is flat out illegal.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, what was it was said by? I mean, I know it's Checkmate Lincolnites is a off-quoted thing when it comes to states' rights and all that. But just to quote the thing he said about the guy from South Carolina who was talking in favor of the Constitution when it was being adopted after the end of hostilities with Britain, basically saying, if you adopt the Constitution, it must be adopted in perpetuity. You don't get to join when you need it and then say, right, that's it, we're fine, bye.
Yeah, it's... If this goes through, it's probably going to devolve into a guerrilla action very quickly. If it actually turns into an American Civil War, you may not have Virginia break off because Virginia is slightly more industrialized than its southern neighbors.
And especially if this isn't over an issue of slavery. Then I know slavery is a part of the whole thing. It's why the planter class need tariffs to be low so that they can keep, profiting from cotton exports and other goods being exported. But
this is a tariff on imports, not exports.
Either way, it's the issue at stake here has nothing to do with slavery. There is no unifying cause to bring the South together, which in 1859 to 1861 was the dual black. No, I didn't mean to say it like that, but
quick thing.
Hang on, let me finish.
Let him finish.
The dual black horses of slavery and a desire to maintain and, if necessary, reinforce racial inequality. Go on, Fosso.
Yeah. So the United States officially banned the importation of slaves in 1808, after being forced to comply with the Slave Trade Act, and then later the Abolition of Slavery Act.
Yeah, I don't.
Once again, thank the Royal Navy.
Yeah, I think if this goes through, if events break out like this, you don't get the Emancipation Proclamation. You don't get the 19th Amendment.
No. In fact, slavery might last longer. Because
it probably will.
Because you've had this war over states' rights, and the federal government, despite being ruled ostensibly by the planter class through Jackson, has made its position fundamentally clear. You do not get to secede over parts of the Constitution you don't like.
Well, this really isn't necessarily secession. This is
either
law enforcement.
Rebel / secede / whatever. You don't get to cause trouble over things not going your way.
Slavery probably dies when it becomes no longer economically viable to practice.
And that
the issue being is that comes about in the 20th century.
It will probably be forced significantly earlier. There was a widespread movement in the 1880s amongst various European states as liberalism rose rapidly to boycott goods from markets that still had and practiced chattel slavery, specifically of the African-American kind. For example, the Brazilian monarchy and the Brazilian state's finances were very nearly brought down by such an embargo and boycott in the 1880s and 1890s when the British and the French basically stopped buying Brazilian goods.
That's because Brazil's a largely export-based economy with the coffee trade and the banana trade and the cocoa trade. Most of America's good consumption and good manufacturing is done in its internal market, which massively reduces the leverage outside powers have. And the US is a very different beast to Brazil. And thirdly, Under the Abolition of Slavery Act, it includes examples such as Russian serfdom, and Russian serfdom only ends by force in 1917.
What? No, no.
Yeah?
Russian serfdom ends
Yes,
well
actually.
before that.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't. Our favourite
No,
Swede has
it-
been digging into it.
No, it does.
Which favorite Swede?
1861, in
So,
fact.
no, in 1861, you get the reform of the Streltsy,
No.
which gives rights to the Streltsy who underwent lifelong conscription and were serfs.
No, the
It gave them
1861.
rights because it also gave one of their demands during the revolt was, as we shows over the MEP's documentation on it, was that they only wanted their commanding officers to be able to take half their pay without justification.
No, the Emancipation Manifesto proclaimed the emancipation of the serfs on private estates and of the domestic households. By this edict, 23 million people received their liberty. Serfs gained the full rights of free citizens, including the right to marry without having to consent, to own property, to own a business.
Yep.
Okay, I'm not seeing anything here saying that loopholes existed.
A lot of loopholes existed. Because, wait, do me a favour. There was a word you said there that's very specific. Private estates. Right?
Mm-hmm.
The vast majority of Russia did not constitute private estates. It was a national estate under the Tsar. And thus all serfs who worked on and were bound to Tsar's land did not get rights from that proclamation.
No, yeah, you missed the other bit. It said on private estates and of the domestic household serfs, aka the serfs under that household, aka the serfs owned by the Russian Tsar, aka the ones you just said weren't
No.
free.
No, that only household serf refers specifically to the serfs that work within the household. Meaning you can't own your groundkeeper. You can't own your maids.
Anyway, moving onwards.
So the next question would be...
And as Wellesley has also pointed out, they were also basically bound into debit slavery because they had to pay back their former landowners for the value of their land and the value of their lost labour. Which, of course, the landowners could set the interest rates on.
No, Wellesley, I know what a domestic worker is. The language was fairly vague.
Yeah. But
It
it
could
shifted
be-
from an obligation to a debt kind, but it was still de facto slavery. Much in the same way that you can rightly argue that, what's it? The debt system, the de facto slavery systems in India were still slavery, even though slavery was illegal.
Right, okay, Fleet's gonna have to do what Fleet does again. It's fine. Typical gunnery officer asks, I want you to let me take first crack at this for a very specific reason. The gunnery officer asks, what would happen if the US didn't decide to share the Polaris missile technology to the UK? Do you think the UK will design a much more capable SLBM? or move to an air or ground-launched nuclear missile platform. You're getting better, gunnery officer, but this tendency to big up anyone that isn't the US and dig down at the US in your questions is still there, my guy. This is one of your least egregious examples, but you could have just said design an SLBM. The much more capable qualifier was not needed. But in regards to actually answering the question, the UK, at the time submarine-launched ballistic missiles are being considered, just about has the technical expertise and still just about has the rocketry industry to consider having a crack at something like this alone. However, I firmly believe that given the combined Franco-British zeitgeist that is in the air around this time, the zeitgeist that leads to things like Concorde, and with the French also looking to acquire SSBNs with submarine-launched ballistic missiles that can be fired from below the waves, I would consider it, if the British do not choose to attempt to go it alone, it would be likely that the British and the French would combine to produce a domestically launched missile. Although there probably would be flavors of the missile, knowing these programs and how the British and the French would want to at least somewhat domesticate their own versions of the platform.
French M1. Remember, the French did go their own way with the M1 missile.
No, I know. What I'm saying is, if the British do tag in and try to do a joint development, you're going to see not exactly the same missile. It's not going to be, the British and the French are not going to field the same missile, but it'll have the same bones, basically. The French will...
Why wouldn't they do the same missile? It's for the exact same role, for the exact same...
Because...
For very similar navies.
Because this is nuclear deterrence we're talking about. Well, then again, if the British history with Polaris is anything to go by, the British would be happy to basically just tag on the coattails of the French and just give money when required, as they did with Polaris.
Yeah. And it's also a case of the M1's a good missile.
Yeah, it's perfectly adequate. It is. There's a reason why it's considered a Polaris equivalent.
Yep.
Do we want to answer the night domination of industries question?
Go on, then.
Yeah, we can do, I suppose. Empire and Commonwealth, we know that whole thing. Can we say that the US domination of certain industries would be reduced, even if it was not by very much? It's very hard to stop the engine of capitalist juggernautism that is the US economy riding high on the aftermath of World War II, that then continues to ride high on the appetites for its goods provided by the rebuilding of 3/4 of the civilized world.
No, not on that. Right, okay. Until the 2000s, what was the biggest industry that America dominated and was never contested in? Until the rise of the 7mm nanochip.
Tell me, Foxo, tell me.
Computing and electronics. Do you want to know why the American electronics industry was capable of going through such a massive series of explosive growths and mass capitalization and rapid advancement?
Consistent injection of funding?
Because America was the only nation on the fucking planet that had a wealthy enough middle class that they could consume in 1970s and 80s and 90s consumer electronics. There was one market in which the personal computer could have thrived in, and it was the Americans. The Americans had populace had the money to see mass adoption.
Mm-hmm.
Because $1,200 for a PC, say an Apple II, is a hell of a lot of money for an American at that point. Most middle class Americans. That's out of reach of the British middle class and the French middle class. And electronics are expensive.
Yes.
Don't let the modern bubble tell you otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
As we can see, now there's actually a demand outside of consumer electronics for electronic components in critical mass. Prices started going to the fucking moon again.
Yes, the sooner that bubble bursts, the better.
Oh, it's never going to burst.
Well,
Not to the degree it needs.
well, I mean, the backlash against AI is steadily rising. The data center boom will end. I mean, for God's sake, most of the major companies are looking at bankruptcy in the next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
If you listen to the tax receipts of most major companies, they're all expecting bankruptcy within the next 6 months. But basically it's going to be, when do the stockholders of these AI companies start wanting returns on their investment? And they actually have to start charging for usage.
Which they decide to do. The issue is that no matter what we may like, it's massively, massively overflated, but there is a genuine use case for AI.
AI, yeah, but the problem isn't AI, it's the generative AI that's currently sucking in all of the demand. Stuff like ChatGPT and Soma and all that crap.
No, okay. So yes, generative AI is the face of LLM usage, and it's terrible on so many levels. However, a lot of what LLMs are actively useful for is largely indistinguishable from sites like Midjourney or Suno, image generation, video generation, because where LLMs are useful is, here is a giant ass data set. What the hell does it mean? And that requires at least text generation. And that is where the data centers are needed, with the storage and the memory and the compute power, because even if you take away the consumer component of it, you're still going to be using it for enterprise and government.
Yeah,
You
and
still need
AI
infrastructure build out.
And AI is an incredible administrative tool.
It can be, yes.
It can be when it's not full of problems.
The issue
is
that people have bought into the hype currently, and it's being pushed beyond its current means and trusted way beyond what it should be. But an AI can go through a data set in a matter of minutes, what it would take a series of humans years to go through.
What it would take a normal algorithm a day to go through.
No, that's the problem. It's not a normal algorithm.
Because you can't, for most of your data sets, use a normal algorithm.
Correct.
Because it's... computers in general don't like non-linear data sets. But most, especially human information, is non-linear. AI is very useful for linearizing that. And I mean, for God's sake, why do you think companies like BEA and defense contractors have their own LLMs but aren't open to public?
Yeah.
But they're still building massive fuck off data centers for them.
Yep. Like there is a reason why there is the various U.S. federal governments have such large contracts with Anthropic and
Well, Anthropic was
OpenAI.
kind of forced into that one.
No.
But it's like the same reason companies like Palantir are building their own fucking data centers. Because yes, they're a surveillance company, but digital surveillance produces a lot of fucking data.
Yeah.
Especially of a lot of people. So they're using AI to crunch it all down to something that they can actually use.
Yeah, to make a digestible product for the governments that are contracting them, and for the private industry that's contracting them.
Yeah, and that's the majority of use.
Yeah, it is all incredibly dystopic and concerning on so many levels for so many reasons, but there is a legitimate, air quotes, use case for LLMs as currently extant.
Those air quotes were so large, Ruinon, I could see them from across the Atlantic.
No, Flea,
Yeah.
no. There is a legitimate interest for the City of London to be able to take all of its inputs from traffic cameras, speed cameras, all the various sensors that city is seated with, or I'll use New York City, we can use that too. You know, the metro system, all that, and synthesize it for, okay, what are my trends? What are my patterns? Is there anything here that bucks a pattern? Is there anything here that points to what could be a large security risk? And that takes a lot of compute power to do in a timely fashion. A lot of compute power.
Because I mean, because I'm just bringing this up quickly. One thing that's come up with fucking commercial trucking of all things is pattern recognition. So you see conditions and points of failure in your transport network, and you take actions to fix it or precautions against it, so you never have issues to begin with.
Whilst this is an interesting discussion, we have kind of gotten a teeny tiny bit off topic.
Yeah, but I'd also like to counterpoint Ron's thing quickly. There's also a lot of non-dystopian uses for AI as it is.
Yes, but unfortunately, they're all being used for the dystopian ones.
Yeah, well, no. We have got companies that are using them to crunch massive amounts of data when it comes to medical research.
Yes, but those aren't the ones I'm worried about.
Yeah, but which is like, that's an actual good use of AI. That's not fucking Cyberpunk or Blade Runner.
Anyway.
Also,
So,
can we just all
to
get a rip for Earth? Because Mike Pondsmith was fucking right. He just got the fucking decade wrong.
Yeah.
Huh?
Turns out the water shortage is going to be caused by bloody data centers.
Yeah, have you never heard of Mike Pondsmith?
Mhm.
No. Not by that
The
name,
guy
at least.
behind Cyberpunk. The Cyberpunk.
Mhm.
Oh, the guy who hung around in the Canadian Underground and did shrooms?
Yes. The guy who reinvented Cyberpunk as a genre, and Cyberpunk as a setting, and Cyberpunk as a TTRPG.
Anyway, I love the reference. Don't get me wrong. So, U.S. domination of certain industries. So, is there any markets where a united federal EU style Commonwealth thingy MacGuffin wearing 5 different hats, whatever the fuck it is at this point, could perhaps edge them out of?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Phrasing?
Didn't think so.
Because the American excellence in this period of technology comes from their rapid adoption of digital and computerized systems.
Mhm.
Or as the Soviets would put it, their cybernetic capabilities.
Mhm.
The Commonwealth, the UK, the core of the Commonwealth, is not wealthy enough to sustain it after the World Wars.
Mhm.
The middle class had enough damage done to it, and arguably has never recovered. The rest of the fucking empire, there's parts of Africa now that are only in the past 5-6 years gotten access to cellular service that were parts of the former empire, and quite significant parts of the former empire. So yeah, there's just not the civilian market to sustain the rapid technological growth, which allows stuff like American radars and American aircraft to be bullshit, because they were almost a decade ahead of everyone when it came to electronics. Hence why they get fly-by-wire so much earlier than everyone else.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It takes nowadays it takes 5 years to make a chip fab, and that's as fast as Intel and Texas Instruments and TSMC can build them, and Samsung can build them.
Wellesley, conclusion: you can blame all of Britain's problems on Germany's existence. No, if it wasn't the Germans, it would have been another great power that we would have had to go to a series of large wars with that would have bankrupted us. If it wasn't the Germans, it would have been someone else.
Counterpoint: the Germans are the source of the UK's issues, because if the Germans didn't exist, the British wouldn't exist.
Fun. Funny. But anyway.
Ooh, Sacred Cow Shipyards is doing something on the puddle jumper.
Lord asks, I've seen this question on Reddit. What are some Star Wars ships you just hate? For me, it would be the big units from the new class mod program, Majestic and up. Now, I'm going to catch flack for this, but I've nailed my colours to the mast before, so I'm going to fucking do it again. I think the Venator is overhyped. The Imperial one's better. Heck, the Providence is better.
Boo.
The Venator's a flying hangar with some turbo lasers strapped to it.
A lot more than that.
Venator is an excellent design if it's used as a flying hangar with some defensive guns strapped on it.
I like how Dragon's like...
Guess what it's not used as?
A flying hangar with guns strapped to it.
It's used as a mainline, if not frontline combatant, that more often than not is placed in front of its escorts, which is not the role of a Venator. It would not be the role of a Venator. I like the Venator visually, but it is a bad ship overall for the mission profile it's used for.
Wow. I was not expecting Dragon to...
Oh no, I mean, my hatred of how the Venator's used is well known. The Venator is a flying hangar. It's why I say the Venator is a Lexington equivalent.
Yeah. Although
its main guns are the 8-inch guns.
They're like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. That boy's coming right towards us. Pile on the speed and run while shooting at him.
Well, it's not. I won't go that far, because they can and do throw hands with Confederate ships and win a lot of the time.
That's only because usually bullshittium or plot demands they do. You put them in a proper stand-up gunfight with a Recusant or a Providence without plot armor in there to help them. The Providence and the Recusant will absolutely fucking
Providence,
body
yeah, maybe. No, Recusants actually go down pretty quickly. Recusants don't have the mass.
Dreadnought Recusants do.
That's not a Recusant though. That's a Dreadnought Recusant.
Okay, fair enough.
That's a different form of kiss.
And you've also got stuff like the one I do despise is the fucking Acclimator.
Oh.
Why has it got that retarded tail on it?
That's the hyperdrive.
Yeah, that's where the hyperdrive is, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
But it looks like you've shoved a stick up its bum.
Yeah, but because you've done that, it's now got the fastest hyperdrive of any military vessel in all of Star Wars.
Why does it need it?
It is the linchpin of the Republic Logistics Network.
It's also meant to be a frontline cruiser. It is your I go wherever this needs me, and I represent the flag.
But it's a 0.5 hyperdrive.
0.6, but yes.
0.6. They're fucking expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And they're the only thing in the fleet that fucking has them.
Do you want to know why it has
so
that
if it's
hyperdrive?
operating with any of its large escorts, stuff like that, the Venator that's there to protect them, it'll get there either before its capital ships do and fucking die, because a medium Providence destroyer or a heavy,
A recusant can clobber one of them.
recusant. Yeah.
Recusant's an unfair comparison, once again, because the Recusant's so much
We're not doing a
bigger.
comparison. We're doing a what fucking clobbers it.
Okay,
But-
then.
no,
but-
what are the
but
little...
I am gonna push back and do a
Right.
counter here, which
So,
is
Foxo,
that
Right,
reason why-
can I
no.
finish? 'Cause-
Yeah. Yeah, go on, Foxo.
And the issue is that we see that a Munificent will quite happily get into a gunfight with one.
a munificent will gladly get into a gunfight with anything. A munificent is a flying thing with
We
no
actually-
shields, little armor,
So-
and covered in all the turbo lasers to fight
So-
God.
Outside of it's point 6. Wasn't it? Outside of books, acclimators are never seen engaging other ships. It's only in the actual books and the source material where we actually see them engage in other ships, and they are nuts because they are the only Republic ships to have 4 backup shield generators. So
Oh,
if a
and the
section of
proton
the ship
torpedoes.
if a section of the ship ever goes down shield-wise, it has 2 separate shield generators that just overcharge and cover that area till that
Mhm.
shield generator comes back online.
I would also like to point out something which, like, we've talked about ships we hate, but I would like to talk about ships we like. I mean, while Dragon knows this, I mean, and you probably already heard, I have a real soft spot for the Munificent, the flying droid crewed brick with literally barely any shields, no hangar, barely any armor, but enough turbo lasers to fight God.
Foxo, what's your most
One
hated?
Foxo?
I'm trying to figure out how to say it again. But those massive 6.2 kilometer bricks QAT had. in the
Mandate.
coin books.
The
Yeah,
mandate.
The mandators.
The Mandators
they're
not
Or
big
the
bricks.
Malcadors.
Do you mean the Praetors?
Mandators.
The mandators.
No, I don't think she means Praetors.
The Mandators are longer than 6K, and they're not bricks. They're more wedgies.
Yeah. Well, she calls anything like that a brick. Unless she's referring
Yeah,
to
it's the
something-
mandator.
Thought so.
And it's just a... Look, I can see where you're coming from, but it's like it's like you poorly photoshopped an ISD in hull form. And the ISD
Mm.
already has a
It
fucking
predated
ugly hull form.
It predated the ISD by a couple hundred years,
Yeah.
basically.
I'm talking from a design standpoint, like style, as in looking at it. It's just a horrible ship to look at.
Oh, I need to look mine up because I know what
it's
it is.
just-
but-
Also, that's another one I despise the look of.
Hmm.
An ISD.
Fair.
The hull is fine. It's that fucking superstructure.
Go on. Let's see if you fall into the same trap everyone else always does.
Embrace the Munificent. The swarm of turbo
Go
lasers
on,
will get you
Foxo.
eventually.
The superstructure.
It's that sort of. You got the triangle hull, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you get the step up. Then you get very close after it. The step up, the really tiny width step up. And then you step up again. And then you've got that deck until you get the bridge section. Bridge
Mhm.
section, I know it's been argued to death. But it's just how. Proportions don't look right, okay, for that superstructure.
So you're not arguing
It's-
actual
it's-
function, you're arguing form. Fair enough.
Yes. And it's that sort of, it looks like a pug. Where the superstructure's really flat frontally. It's just that sort of, at least the Venator has some depth to it superstructure
No, it
wise.
didn't.
The Venator was basically flat pancake,
And wait.
twin bridge, flat pancake.
Yeah,
They're just up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got the spires, but it's not sort of got
No,
this.
it's like-
We put a cardboard box on a cardboard box on a cardboard box.
Just has a cardboard triangle.
Yeah.
Don't talk to me if your bridge is not stupidly exposed at the front of your ship, clearly in sight for enemy fire. This post paid for by the expendable munificent gang.
So go on, Rune, on. Oh, sorry.
Just quickly, it won't look too bad where it is if it was only 1 or 2 layers. It's the fact it's 3 layers that gets me. If as a designer, it would be so much cleaner and look better if you dropped from the layers and sort of smoothed out and lengthened the superstructure more. And also because I think it looks so good, it's massively overhyped because of it's the OG Star Wars ship.
Yeah, that's fair.
And there should have been a fucking guns down the center line on the pike.
There is.
My annoyance is
But
not
there
a
should
cock,
be
though.
big guns there.
They are.
Because I'm looking from on the pictures from the actual movie and they're not fucking there.
Would you like to know why they're not there?
I know, but I was looking at stuff from the
Would you like-
the
you like-
animated from one of the animated.
Would you like
stuff.
to know
It's like,
why they're not there?
I get that. No, but I can't find any images where they're fucking there, which is the issue.
It's all fan stuff where it actually goes into because fans don't have to worry about an animation budget or a modeling budget.
But even stuff like the Disney representations of it, they don't have guns along the central pipe.
Because they don't have the budget.
But they can religiously animate the details of the smaller turrets and not put basic bitch ass quad laser turbo
Also,
lasers
yes.
on that pike.
Also, I do have
Just because
to
Disney
also-
can buy an entire country does not mean they will give an entire country's worth of animation budget to make that Star Destroyer biblically
Also-
accurate.
Also, I do have to say something here where I am going to also jump on the mandators for something, although this is less about the ships themselves and more about one of the things that really fucking annoys me about Star Wars naval construction. The moment that you establish the fact that Kuat has a couple to low double digits, depending on which lore you read, of these things as the core of their sector defense fleet, the whole concept of the construction of the two sides navies of the Clone Wars becomes fundamentally an exercise in stupidity from a writing perspective. If a local planet, even one that is relatively wealthy, can afford to fund the construction of numerous large warships, yes, large warships with limitations, then a galactic-scale government, 2 galactic-scale governments, can afford to field cores of their navies that consist of triple-digit numbers of
Fleet.
these large ships.
Fleet. I get where you're coming from, but you are woefully misinformed.
Yeah,
First of all, it is Kuat.
Yeah, and just quickly, QAT, from what I've been reading up on it, single-handedly produces more than half of all starships in the galaxy.
Or Kuat subsidized and fully owned companies.
Another
I know,
like
you've been waiting
6%
as
of
well,
the market's
Rune, on-
Rothana. And they're
Rothana,
literally a
they-
subsidiary
Rothana,
because
which
QAT ran out of space.
Rothana, which after the Clone Wars, they basically threw away of. It no longer makes money. So just drop it.
Doesn't QAT drive yards literally have multiple orbital rings?
One orbital ring, but it's bloody huge.
Okay.
And also, the information is that Kuat has 1 in defense. They have built multiple, though. We believe there's at least 2 to 4 Mandator 1s and 2 Mandator 2s in total that was produced into service.
Okay, that's
Almost
fair.
all of these were bought by the were ordered for the Republic. The Republic then basically kept 1 in Kuat, so Kuat doesn't actually own it. It belongs to the Republic, but biggest shipyard in galaxy?
Am I doing?
Let's give her one of the biggest defensive assets we can to defend it.
And it's also for context.
Oh, wait, give Lee a sec just quickly. Foster,
So,
you can actually
given what you just said, is this? Are we still pre-Clone Wars here?
Yes.
Yes.
So Kuwait didn't pay for these ships. They were ordered by the Republic, and then one was gifted to the Kuwait Sector Defense Fleet.
No, because
from
that's
what I'm
part, no,
reading, no.
it's still part of the Republic Sector Defense Fleet.
And from what I was reading,
No.
Right.
That's
I'll
what
ask you a question for you.
No, I need to clarify. No, that's what I meant, Dragon.
Right.
The
Yeah, it's just when
the
you said that
Republic-
didn't.
the Republic.
because it is technically the Kuwait Defense Fleet is a separate
Yeah.
thing.
Sorry.
Yeah, go on.
So, from what I've been reading, at least the first 3 of the Mandators were built by Kuwait to prove a point to their rivals.
Now this supports my point of view.
Like, they were built to prove a point. The galaxy looked at how expensive they were and went, Jesus fuck. Coruscant went, can I have one? And the Republic will have a couple. And then
Right.
we can pay for entire fleets for the cost that thing takes to maintain and build.
So, in particular, the Mandator 1 was introduced into service in 42 BBY, 20 years before the Clone Wars. At which point they were designed as to be the centerpiece for the Kuwait Sector Defense Fleet of the Republic.
Mm-hmm.
So they were ordered for the Republic.
Mm-hmm.
Even at the end of the day, they are still for the Republic by the Republic. However, how much of that was Kuwait basically going, you are buying these ships, is up for debate, because Kuwait has an insane amount of political power.
This is
You then get a more limited run of its successor, which is the Mandator 2.
This is the thing that this is where I have a lot of. I'm sorry for keeping you waiting, Ruben. I just kind of want to finish this tangent. I will shut up in a minute. I promise.
Because then I get started after you, Runon.
But
You already went.
if
No. That's why I said after you.
the existence of these ships. Okay, maybe I was wrong with the whole triple digit bit. But if the Republic moves to a wartime economy, then you would expect significantly more of these ships to be built than we actually see historically. You'd expect each major fleet to have at least one, maybe 2 to 3 as their core. And you'd expect the Separatists to respond in kind. And no, the Subjugator doesn't fucking count.
The Separatists couldn't respond.
So, and quickly, from a cursory search on Wikipedia, these things took longer to build than the Clone Wars went on for.
Yeah.
Now, how much of that is peacetime conditions for construction? How much of that is these are still 6-7 kilometers long
8 kilometer,
warships,
in particular.
8 kilometer long warships. These are big. They take a long time to build, and it's like when you're already working what would become the ISD, and according to some sources, you're already designing what are going to be the Superstar Destroyer.
Yeah, no, they are.
Yeah.
Like, of course they already are.
Why would you build more of these things? The Confederates don't have an answer to them when stuff like the Pride of the Cause deployed at the end of the Clone Wars. And the Confederates just can't bring down the Pride of the Core, which is ironic.
Again, this is my problem. And I understand these ships are a massive leap, and I get it. I do absolutely get it. But the Confederacy is for most of the Clone Wars a rival galactic government.
Nope.
Now,
Non-effectiveness. Go on.
I don't even I don't know. I just
The Confederates have
the holes
the Confederates
in the
never
writing.
had close to the production capability that the Republic did.
The holes in the
And it's
writing.
also so Kuwait is also a major shareholder in stuff like the Techno Union and the groups that are actually building the ships and the droids for the Confederacy. So Kuwait has an active incentive to not build something big that would change the paradigm and end the Clone Wars. So they're making bank off it.
Friendly reminder, the Praetor 1 was in service in the Clone Wars.
Right.
which
I'm
is
just
a
gonna.
which is a minimum 4.8 kilometers.
I'm just
Now,
gonna.
anyway, right,
I'm
Runon,
just- yeah.
you've been waiting for quite a while, so
I'm just gonna shut
Yeah.
up.
Thank you. Now I can get annoyed about this fucking thing again. The MG 100 Starforger SF-17 Heavy Bomber.
Oh my god! Like you could hear the
I know
rage.
I know exactly where this is going.
You could hear the rage floating off Ruin. Understandably, mind you, the thing sucks.
Why? Why?
For people who might not know that name
Why?
exactly,
It doesn't make any
it is a ship.
sense.
It is
You
a ship,
want to
Wellesley.
get rid of your payload as quickly as possible. It is a bomber. It drops bombs by the aid of either minimal thrusters or fucking gravity. Why does it need a fucking dick? Why?
First of all, Slayer, not all of them are pointy. Second of all, a lot of ships do go through atmosphere.
It also allows you to have a minimal frontal cross section, which the MG100 doesn't fucking
You
have,
have.
while having maximum amount of maximum field of fire for your weapons if you use a arrowhead shape. That's another thing. You are sending a thing against a contested, theoretically, target that's going to be shooting at it. Why is the cross section the size of a city fucking block?
Friendly reminder, this fighter slash ship is 30 meters long, 22 meters tall, 15 meters wide.
It's almost as tall as it is long.
Just
No, it is officially a ship, Wellesley. It has its own independent hyperdrive.
And the annoying thing is, if they needed a heavy fucking bomber, first off, I disagree with them calling the B-Wing a bomber. It never really was a bomber
Nah.
bomber.
a bomber
They
in Star
Disney
Wars.
bought the rights to the K-Wing.
Mm-hmm.
They could have used the K-Wing if they needed a heavy bomber. Instead, they made this should have been an abortion thing.
For the record, this is the K-Wing Runon's talking about for those in the Discord.
Why does it exist? I
Okay,
know
oh.
you don't like the sequels. I get it. I know we want to pretend that the sequels never happened. But unfortunately, they did. And I haven't even seen the movie that this one is in because I know. But I saw the trailer that had this thing in it, and I'm like, what the fuck is that, and why does it exist?
So, Wellesley, technically speaking, yes, anything in Star Wars is a ship, but what a ship is something else is a different matter. It's like, what's the difference between a ship and a boat?
So, to get off dragging on the
Take that gift down.
to not drag on the sequels too much, I would like to add another one to the hated list.
Oh boy. Hang on.
That I
Dragon.
know
Hang on. Wait.
that
Hey,
always.
Hold it. Dragon, have you done yours yet?
No.
Yeah,
I've
Foxo.
been waiting.
Yeah, Foxo.
Yeah, no,
Dragon
no,
has
no,
no.
no, let me,
No.
let me,
She can
let
go.
me.
No.
She can
right.
go.
Yeah, he's letting me because I think Dragon knows exactly what I'm going to go for.
Oh, I don't.
Have
Oh,
you all heard of this annoying fucking thing that Star Wars fans will try and power scale any other universe with online?
Oh no.
With this one-off abortion of world building.
No,
Yep.
don't you dare. Don't you dare.
Have you ever heard of the Sun
I
Crusher?
fucking knew it. I fucking knew you were going there.
A fighter that is capable of detonating stars and surviving hits from Death Star super laser, like the prototype super laser.
Yes. Quantum linked armor. Tastes like chicken.
Yes.
The Sun
The one where
Crusher.
it's got no security feature and gets nicked.
The Sun Crusher. F tier. I don't know what my scientists were thinking when they built this fucking weird pointy boy. I'm like,
Yeah,
hello?
and this
Why
thing-
the fuck did we do this?
This thing single-handedly invalidates every fucking ship in the universe.
It invalidates the concept of the galaxy because, in theory, if you just automated it and set it off, The galaxy would burn, and there is sweet enough all you can do about it. And you
There's
want
a
to
button
know
for that
the worst?
actually in Star Wars.
And you want to know the worst thing about this thing? In the canon in which it exists, it's still alive, because the only way to quote-unquote get rid of it was to lob it into a black hole. And you want to know the fucking stupid thing? It's in the middle of the black hole, just vibing.
Uh-huh.
You can't
Yeah,
get
which-
it out though.
No, but it's still there, just
No.
vibing.
But there is things that can reach inside a black hole and pull things out in Star Wars. That's the worrying thing. The Force cares not for your laws of physics.
Yeah.
Meh.
Right, anyway, Dragon, your turn. Unless that was your turn. Oh boy, here we go. Brace for impact.
Oh, where do we begin? How about we just murder the Galactic Alliance to begin with? With the bloody Shashor, MC-140,
Oh,
and
no.
MC-110, and the Tri-Scythe cruisers.
I
Why are these now your standard galactic warships?
Because
Why are
one-
these what we are now using?
be-
Then, we'll go back to old school a bit. The Invincible class Dreadnought.
Oh, you are not gonna go and shit on my lovely
Why?
circular boy. Covered in guns.
Of course I will, when the ship has been in service for over 3,000 years.
I will point out the thing was completely overkill when it was built. It was the mandator of its era.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. It wasn't that powerful for its day because we had other ships that were like the Inexpungible class.
What a name. What a name.
Oh,
Inexpungible. Just-
how about we then move on to the fact that the Recusant Dreadnought and the Providence Dreadnoughts are literally just a small ship put through a size enlarger.
Which...
Oh, and then shall we now murder the sequels for that too? The Zeiston class. Let's literally scale up an ISD-1. How do we know this? They've literally increased the size of the windows. So those windows are now 10s, 20s, 30, 50 bloody meters in size,
here he's going. The man is
if
actually
not
going.
longer. And then you have the bloody goal to not use them? Ah, yes, let's just send one of these ships off into the galaxy and leave all the rest of it in a position where they cannot do anything if they get attacked at all. Then, how about we get to the bloody fact of the Mega Class Star Destroyer? Ah, yes, we are a group which has to literally
Dragon,
melt down
okay.
coins so that we actually have any form of material so that we can
Okay.
build bloody blaster rifles.
Okay, Dragon.
And
Alright, we get
then
it. We
we're
get
gonna
it.
spend
Dragon,
it on
okay.
a
Dragon,
60
calm down,
kilometer
please.
wide vessel.
Dragon,
When this
please.
is after we have bloody converted a full planet to a ship. A planet that requires to eat a sun to fire 2 bloody shots. That's all you get of its entire lifespan of that star. And then you don't even stick a planetary shield on it.
Is that the one from episode 7?
Yes! Starkiller Base.
No, they put a shield on it.
No,
They
they
had-
don't. They put a localized shield. They don't put a planetary shield on it. And then if we want another one that irks me, Fractal Sponge's Torpedo Sphere.
Who muted me?
No clue. Fractal Sponge decided that, oh, well, what's the best solution? Let's take this, what's meant to be an armored attack platform that's meant to blow up planetary shields by overwhelming it through sheer force of firepower, and then turn it into a spindly thing with no arm, where a single fighter can come in and blow the whole thing up. That thing which was described by the New Republic to be, ah yes, any warlord which has one of these has effectively a Death Star under their control. And this isn't even scratching the
Dragon,
bloody
please.
surface.
Please. Please. Also,
Oh,
mute-
and
also-
on a lighter note from his rant, can we all appreciate the absolute design travesty that is the Subjugator? It looks like a pair of clicky tongs. It's relying on a one-hit wonder super weapon that half the time doesn't fucking work.
And it's cosplaying Bismarck way too fucking hard.
It's built in such a way that it can't be supported properly. And the only other ships in its wake cars in the Galactic Civil War are the fucking Mandators. And a Mandator would eat it for breakfast. It would eat 2 of them for breakfast.
Oh, and you know what, actually? And this one is going to get people annoyed. The bloody Harrower-class Dreadnought. Beautiful ship. Wonderful ship. Not a ship of multiple thousand years ago that then gets forced in because, well, we need something that looks Empire-like. Let's just go backwards in the timeline and then set this up where it makes no bloody sense design-wise. And then makes the Zeiston look even more inferior when you've got the Silencer variant of it, which has a fleet-killing weapon that can crack planets too.
Oh boy. Okay, we're done.
Slayer,
We're done.
Slayer, we are selecting the ships we hate the most in Star Wars.
Oh, so
We have selected.
Can I
Oh,
raise one
and
more
then there's the
honourable mention?
Galactic class.
No, I'm sorry.
I can keep going for
Yeah,
hours.
No, I
Okay,
don't. No,
no,
I'm
no,
Fox. No,
one more
Fox.
honourable
No,
mention.
I'm sorry,
Please,
Fox. No,
please,
no,
please,
because you'll set.
please,
No,
please,
because you'll set
please,
Dragon off.
please,
No, I'm
please,
sorry.
Please.
I'm
please,
sorry, Fox. So I'm
please.
putting my foot down.
I'll do when he likes, please.
No, I can't have
Please.
him set off again. It took him 10 minutes to stop last time. I owe you one for later.
And if you wanted actually a decent-looking bloody ship,
Dragon,
you're looking
stop!
at Monismas.
Because I was going to say the Executor.
I said stop.
When the rebellion finally realizes, oh, perhaps using Empire ships is a good idea.
Stop
and they
it.
improve upon
Please.
them. And Mon Mothma class, which is actually a really good-looking ship.
For the love of God.
Ways up-
Can I also point out?
No, I'm putting my foot down. No,
the
we're done.
interpretation
We're
of
done.
The torpedo sphere.
No, we're done. We're done.
It looks like a dog. It looks like my dog's
Oh my
chew toy.
God.
In particular, Wellesley, as a final one, the Quasar Fire don't have it in combat, but it's basically a Ton Falk equivalent. It's an excellent little fighter platform.
Anyway, so moving on. Next question is from Knight on YouTube, who asks, with the Type F126 neither Saxon class frigates now dead, how much of a downgrade is the Type F128? Do you want to know the funny thing? We have no idea. Do you want to know why? Because their specs haven't been announced yet. All we know is they're going to have Aegis Interlink. They're going to have some form of hull sonar. But you know what we don't know? Their sonar, their radar, their sensors, their communications, their navigation, their ESM, how many torpedoes, how many missiles. What naval guns they're going to have beyond the Rheinmetall air defense. That's it.
If they're German, that means they're going to be Iron Blood, so they're probably going to be at least double D upwards, Runon.
Anyway, also politely, given this is actually everyone's saying it's a downgrade, and I'm sitting here going, the whole thing with the F126s is that they were supposed to be ASW ships and the expeditionary arm of the German Navy. Now, here is the important thing to bear in mind. The climate has massively changed. The F126s were going to be 10,000-ton ships. They were going to be bigger than the Arleigh Burkes. And they were going to be, for their size, relatively overbuilt and relatively underarmed. They would have been capable ships for the ASW role, but they were going to be underarmed in basically every other way. What the German Navy has done is recognize what is actually happening in the world and the threat environment that they are going to have to deal with, and has gone, okay, we don't need 3 to 4 massive ships that can do expeditionary capability across the world. We need 8 really good ASW ships for work in the Baltic and up in the north, and up in the northern North Sea. And they have adjusted accordingly. This is actually an example of good defense procurement responding to changes in military need. This is actually not a bad thing. This is an example of actually good, robust, quick-moving defense procurement adaptation. It's something we very rarely see in the modern era, especially in the Western world.
Obviously, it goes against my personal philosophy when it's bad.
What?
Whoosh. Never mind.
I mean, you know my head. It's quite aerodynamic. Things do go whoosh over the top of it.
Your brain is as smooth as a baby's bottom.
It do be that way sometimes.
Yes,
Sometimes?
Brain is very much.
It's
awful.
well. Look, the
Oh
exterior.
yeah, he's a bloody New Republic supporter.
Hey, now just a minute. I'm more of a Confederacy supporter than I am anything to do with the New Republic.
Which New Republic? Canon or Legends New Republic?
Legends, thankfully, at least.
I'm more of a Confederacy supporter than I am anything to do with the Republic.
I would have to team you if you were a Canon New Republic supporter.
Haha. What is that? What is there to support? We know naff all about the state.
We do know a
It
lot
was a
about the state.
failure.
We just know it was a fucking failure.
Yeah, it was an abomination in the worst possible way.
You know,
No,
I'm
'cause
not
personally,
even going to unpack that statement. Anyway,
personally, I'm an avid Republic lover.
okay.
Long live the Venator. Long live the Republic.
Remind me to cause you physical pain by showing you the servitor.
She likes that.
I don't-
Anyway.
don't
I
understand.
could I could go on a rant about the Bellator.
Anyway, USS final question before we move on to Open TTD after ramblings. USS Montana asks, because I need to, unless you're quoting verbatim here, because I need to ask if Belfast still has the wooden deck on her. If not, when was it removed? In what year? As far as I'm aware, from when I've been on Belfast, I don't remember too much in the way of wood. I remember lots of
1952.
metal. Thank you. Dragon's got it.
It is her 1952 refit because she gets the green deck, which we're also familiar with.
That was for NBC as well, wasn't it? To try and reduce the contamination effect.
Yeah, but it's also, you'll see it's like all ships basically of that era.
Oh, yeah, of
Britain,
course.
yeah.
But it's more just expanding on the reason why.
Or 52, 53 refit, I think it was technically,
yeah.
just to cover the bases, but yeah.
Yeah. Right, and on that last little lovely snippet that actually rounds us off very nicely, we've come to the end of our time at a nice good 2-hour stint, give or take. And as per usual, it's ramblings is over. Yay! We've done it again, boys. Now, as I'm sure some of you are aware, over the course of the last week, we had a series of polls that ran regarding a recorded series, which is going to be my first toe dip into that sort of content creation. I am going to be liaising with some of the community and some for both. So for both artwork, for panels, so okay, artwork for the opening and closing scenes, etc., and voice acting to try and bring those opening and closing newsreels / combat reports / other things to life. Unfortunately, democracy was voted for, so I can't actually declare war on anybody, so it's going to be a fairly boring run. But that's what the people voted for, so that's what they're going to get. But yeah, so hopefully, I'm going to hopefully start doing that either next weekend or the weekend after. And then we'll see what happens. Obviously, I'll be liaising for some editing software as well. So I'll be talking to people about that. But yeah, just keep your ears to the ground for that starting to appear on the channel. Take care, everyone, and I'll catch you all next week.